Islam, Islamism. Praise Allah. Honor to the Prophet of the Jordan. Honors to all my brothers and sisters out there who have proclaimed nationality, who upholds the station in the Warren Sonship of America. Honors to all mothers and fathers, aunties, uncles, cousins who happen to be harbingers of the brothers and sisters who in the Warren Sonship of America today. Honors to the Mon Supreme Grand Governor, Supreme Grand Sheikh, Supreme Grand Divine Minister, and all sheiks and adepts, and all members of the Moorish Science of America. I'll open us up in Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through the Spirit of Prophet Ali. Amen. First, all rise, give and perfect praises to our Allah. Praise Allah for everything, for waking me up, giving me life, giving me this courage, giving me everything that I need, giving me the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, because I didn't know who I was. Illusion and belief. What's this about? Illusion and belief. That's what this show is today about. Our people have been bombarded with so much information that's not even true. I love how Run DMC used to talk about you talk too much. You never shut up. You talk about people you don't even know. You talk about places that you haven't even been to. You talk too much. You never shut up. Well, here we go with the optical illusion. Here comes the delusion. I got the conclusion. Yo, hear me out when I got the rap. When I rhyme, when I shine. Dropping dimes on ones, especially Satan the devil. My lower self, I put it to shame. You know my game, you know my name. Yo, I know what time it is. Secondary, necessary, higher self, lower self. Yeah, as so above is so below. Yo, that's not what I know, but I'm just a poet. Yo, I'm here to give a shout out to all brothers and sisters out there. I'm about to demonstrate today on what is rightfully truth. Whether y'all want to accept it or not, every time there's a group of people out there who believe whatever they being told, they tend to lose track of sight of what their true mission is, but yet and still they lose their minds based upon some hearsay, some fraudulent stuff. Now, the question you really want to ask yourself is, what am I watching on TV? What am I allowing my children to do? Last I checked, I had no internet, no Wi-Fi. I don't have to worry about none of that. But ride skateboards, You know what I'm saying? Ride bikes, play dominoes, sit on the porch, talk about whatever. You know what I mean? And watch all kinds of crazy stuff that we see in front of us is not necessarily as far as television mode is concerned, but we really have to be yielding to the truth without having this extra lies and deceit being shown in our countenance, and we start protecting people that should not have no purpose of some type of remorse. If these people don't have remorse on us, why should we protect them? That's the question. Illusion and belief. That's what belief is. It's an illusion. It's not proven until you can prove it. Until you prove it, you don't no longer have belief. Now you have faith. Faith is what you know. It's proven. You can prove that 2 plus 2 is 4. But everything has to be correspondence with something else. And you probably asking your brother Morris life, what do you mean by that? Well, there's a thing called cause, effect, rhyme, and reason for the season. Now, I need all ears on deck. I see that we tend to be misled by what we see on TV and all this fake stuff, and it's not something that we need to be worried about. We don't need to be worried about the new plasma flat screen TV. We need to worry about the new video game that's coming out, or anything that's going to lead us to consume, to hoard, because that's all you're doing. I would say you probably only need, maybe, depending on what you like as far as games and game consoles concerned, I'll probably get 2 or something, depending on what you like. If you like Nintendo, yeah, go Nintendo. If you like PlayStation and you want to play all your PlayStation 1, 2, 3 games, go backwards compatible. You can play all 3 of them. You don't got to worry about all that. Hoarding. And if you like board games, hey, I got a game called Sorry. I got a game called Chess, Checkers. You know, these things that keep your mind going. Monopoly is, I'm gonna be real with y'all. Monopoly is one of them games that make you really think, though, because that tells you who's in power and who's deciding to do what with whom or whatever. Because what they are telling you is one thing, but in movies they're telling you a totally different agenda. Now, whether you want to follow the script of Hollywood, and I'm here to say this to you, that I remember watching in a movie called Back to the Future. This is the first one, where Michael J. Fox, Marty McFly, went back to 1955 and he saw Doc Brown. Fast forward, he was like, who is the president? Doc Brown asked Marty McFly, who was from 1985, asked him, who was the president in 1985? He said Ronald, and Marty McFly responded. He said Ronald Reagan. Doc Brown said, Ronald Reagan, the actor? Okay, that was supposed to be funny, but there's a point to that. And what I mean by that is, now the question you need to ask yourself, what is an actor? An actor is one who follows a script, right? And follows a certain screenplay, where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do, and so on and so on. Well, that's actually valid. I don't care what nobody say. That's actually valid. But always remember, family, when I go live and I tell my brothers and sisters out there, and I tell my so-called white folks who are Europeans out there, you know what I'm saying, that they put stuff in comedy and drama that you really don't really think about. Now, sticking to the topic of illusion and belief, is that now, if you ever was to take a look at that movie again, Back to the Future, and where he met Marty McFly met his friend Doc Brown at Twin Pines Mall at 1:16 a.m. Now you turn that upside down, that's 9/11. Well, here comes the optical illusion. Now, Twin Pines Mall is actually based in California, which is basically a makeover for La Puente Mall. That's where it was filmed at. Now, may I mind you that the optical illusion was at Twin Pines. Now, Marty happened to go through Old Man Peabody's farm where he was breeding pine trees, selling pine trees. And after Marty killed one of the pines by rolling over it with the DeLorean, it was done by accident. But now, when he goes back to 1985, fast forward, you notice that it's not Twin Pines Mall anymore. It's called Lone Pines Mall. So that's automatically an optical illusion to a certain degree that has a hidden agenda to perceive one thing but perceive something different. Now, when you start really thinking about these actual movies, they put things out there in front of you to really make you think, but you don't think about it until later on, right? So now there's no more Twin Pines Mall, there's Lone Pines Mall. So that's a symbol of 1:16 a.m., which is 1316, no, 0016, which is 7. 7 means completion. Yeah, no, 6, 7, 8. 8 is the number. If you was to do that, 1:16 in military time. Now that's going to take you to a whole different level. But once you understand the significance of these movies, you start to understand where everything takes place as far as numbers is concerned. Islam, peace of blessings to Aiden Gamer. I see you out there. Yeah, Islam, heaven hides to you. Peace of blessings. I want the brothers and sisters to understand that the reason why it was called the Twin Pines Mall at 1:16, because if you turn 1:16 upside down, it's 9/11. So that was the crash of the Twin Towers. September 11th, 2000 something. 2001. But in all, it leads down to after the Twin Towers have crashed down, was led by Europeans who govern the world, was to cause havoc, which now leads down to one pine standing up. That pine represents that World Trade Center that's still standing right now. And this type of optical illusion is something that they do subliminally in front of you. But what the whole point that I'm making is, this whole television thing is to tell you what to think, how to think, and not formulate an opinion. Or formulate some type of hypothesis, which is an educated guess, which is theory, which you have at the end you have a theory to be able to prove that your guess is accurate. Now, when you start understanding certain things, you start to begin to unravel the falsehood that you used to think, and now you begin to question things. When you begin to question things, now the illusion and the veil has came from over your eyes, and you begin to see things for what they truly are. So the more information you retain, the more you sit amongst people uh, who understand information, who understand lies and deceit. The more information you get, the more you retain, the more you apply it to yourself, and the more you're going to be able to teach the young people. Once you understand these type of situations, the more you begin to understand that a person's way of thinking is going to change in due time. But now that goes down to the question is when. When the time is right, they'll be ready. When the time is not right, they will not be ready. So everything, we have to really start doing some thinking, family. We really got to start looking at what is in front of us, but looking behind the allegory. Looking behind that door and be able to use your X-ray Superman vision to see through the ulterior motive of lies and deception. And if you understand the reason why there are so many denominations in Christianity, now you begin to see why is there war? Why is there optical illusion of pale-skinned people throughout the Bible, and none of these people were pale-skinned, a lot of these people were Asiatics and dark-skinned people? This all goes down to illusion and belief. It goes exactly in conjunction with the topic, what I'm saying to you and what I'm speaking about. But nevertheless, you cannot continue to keep going on in life and keep accepting teachings that was passed down to you, but you have to investigate yourself. You can't always use mom, pop, grandmoms, grandpops, aunties, uncles, and etc. as a scapegoat for the reason why you do what you do or the religion you practice. You have to do your own investigation. You have to do your own work. It may not be, if you follow them, you're gonna follow yourself into a death trap. Now, just because they eat unclean foods, does that mean you need to be eating unclean foods because they do it because it's part of culture during slavery? Why would you want to acknowledge something and embrace something that is demonic and it's evil and it's something that has an evil intent to harm you and your ancestors? You have to start thinking for yourself. You got to start formulating some ideas, some facts, some opinions, some truth, some falsehood, because there's only two things in the world. It's truth and falsehood. You have to take in consideration that information is going to be given to you will not always be accurate. Just because they say it's free, it's too bad to be false. It's just too bad to be false. I can never say it's too good to be true, because that's deception. I didn't know good could be bad, and I didn't know truth could be bad. Well, it's too good to be true. Wow. Those are two high vibrations, so how could that be a bad thing? I'm explaining to you the words that people use, but yet and still you don't use psychology to do your own way of thinking. And once you understand the way of thinking, the ways of the life, you shall perish, for what you hide and what you deceive from the people will come back and haunt you. You have to really critique everything that you see. You have to look at certain things and say, should I take this literally or should I not? Or should I look beyond the allegory of what's going on? These are things you must ask yourself. These are things you must question. Because if you don't question it and you start on the dotted line and you don't agree to the terms but you don't say nothing, you're giving in to the deception. And when you give in to the deception, that means you agree with the deceptions and you're going to go along with the program of deception. And that's going to where your true colors are really going to come out to be. We really gotta start thinking. What good does it do a person if you hand someone some information, but the information you receive, they can't tell you can't do your homework on it, but you have to sign right now? That's automatically deception right there. You don't want me to do my homework. You can't hand me nothing for me to look into it, to investigate it, to see if it's true. I look into more science. It checked out. I checked out the Prophet Drew Ali's lessons. It checked out. I can't find nothing wrong with the movement of more science. All more science is the study of self. And the study of your condition, of your mindset. Your mindset is what leads you to heaven and hell. A man thinketh, so it is. A man thinketh, so it be. Who's deceiving who? Because everyone has a tempter. You can't be rebuked from your own tempter. You can't run from your lower self because it's always going to be there. Until you acknowledge that it's speaking to you in your mindset, and no one can hear your thoughts but you. So now you need to ask yourself these questions. If I sign this contract, what's going to be the benefit for me? What's going to be benefit for the next person? How are they going to benefit and I'm not going to benefit? That's the question. These are things that need to be asked, yo. Seriously. In order to look at the deception within people and government, politics, and all these corporations, we got to first look at ourselves. And how do we play in this role of deception? One of the brothers and sisters is going to start understanding that whatever it is you call yourself, or however you identify yourself, you have proven the point that you are not here for the solution. You have proven yourself to be Negro, black, and colored, but you have no land, you have no constitution, you have no law enforcement, you have no military to protect you, and you have nothing to show for yourself in being Negro, black, and colored. Where does it benefit you when you calling yourself this name that the corporate entity of the European powers that be have called you? Where do you benefit from it? You don't benefit nothing but being taxed to death, literally to death. Caesar and Rome are one, and that's who your tax collector you paying is Rome. The Roman tool to furrow the earth. Who can they say they may devour? But yet still, you continue to pay taxes to them because that's what a good citizen does. So at the end of all this, What do you benefit? What do you win out of signing a contract of having free food stamps, making $220 a month on plus food stamps? What are you winning at? What do you win and be a so-called black person? What national standards do you uphold, and what constitution do you uphold to make a change? Oh, I'm sorry, but according to the Dred Scott decision, it says that anybody who's black or African descent is not an American citizen. You can't be black and be an American now. Brotherhood of the Black Crusades. I never understood that. It sounds like some Masonic demonstration to me. Well, all I can say is information to anybody out there who's an immigrant right now who haven't been captured by ICE. Whether you're born here as an immigrant or not, this is so, let me just make it straight, plain and clear. I don't care if you've been here all your life, most of your life, part of your life. You're gonna have to go back home. That's the rules. That's the rules of the game. What they're playing right now. And I don't think y'all ready for it. This land has to be returned back to the indigenous people. You have to take into consideration on what's fact and what is fiction. How long are you going to be following someone else's culture, someone else's teachings, till you realize that you're going to be on your dying bed, wish you hadn't changed, but all in all, you're messing up your life. Eating the wrong food, drinking the wrong things, partying all night, party all the time like Eddie Murphy says. Yeah, so, yeah. You really got to start doing some thinking. Because if you don't change now, it's going to hurt you in the long run. This thing that's going on with ICE, I'm going to explain to you in detail what's going on with ICE. And I'm about to bust out the illusion. Anybody who was born here in the United States of America, who have been emancipated through their ancestors and failed to proclaim a nationality, you shall be held accountable for what is about to happen to you at these FEMA camps. If you are born here and from another nation, I advise y'all to get into a more signed symbol of America and proclaim nationality. That's pretty much going to be the only thing that's going to stop you from getting deported. And I probably will not say this again. But I pray that the brothers and sisters out there, you guys make the right choice. Make the right decision. All this stuff going on with people getting sick or eating the wrong foods. Do you realize that all that congestion is coming from the dairy cow's milk, the cheese coming from cow's milk, the yogurt coming from cow's milk, and you wonder why you're congested when you wake up? That's real. Peace and love, y'all. So yeah, I need y'all to pay attention to what's really going on. All the people who are supposedly like immigrants, so to speak, who got their green card, who got their whatever, their U.S. citizenship. Do you understand that the United States corporation is the one that owns you? I'm gonna say that again. Y'all don't hear me. The United States corporation owns the body, mind, soul of the people who are either from other nations or native tribes or so-called Negro, blacks, colors, Puerto Ricans, etc. So they tell you can't have dual citizenship. I wonder why. Let y'all chew on that. I'm just giving y'all information, food for thought, because y'all are not ready for this. So, I need y'all to really take heed to what I'm saying to you. They will be knocking on doors. They will be checking the people of the household. That's what they will be doing. But be mindful. They arrested people on the spot because of hysteria. And they're closing down fast food chains. So if you're not growing your own food, you're the problem of your own calamities. Hold on a minute, I'm going to be right back. Islam, I'm back from break. Do you ever notice that people tend to not acknowledge the people who speak the truth, but they turn their back on them? Once the stuff starts hitting the fan, you wish you're going to listen to the instructions, and yet it's still going to be caught up in a wrong situation. People, the common people, whoever you may be, are chasing after stuff that doesn't even matter. Fancy cars, Louis Vuitton, and all this other stuff, Gucci. Forget all of them. What's the point? Yep. Matthew 16:26 says, "For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul?" He gives up, forfeits his soul. That means he just lost his morals to his lower self. The Bible gives us duality in almost every aspect of our life. But not all of it can be true. Because you can't serve two masters. You can't. Proverbs 16:27. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. Idle lips are his mouthpiece. That sounds like a group of people to me. What does he gain the whole world but loses himself? His higher self, but he dwells in his lower self. A wandering mind is what causes people to go into deception. A form of deception leads people to go into their lower self thinking and start idolizing things that are demonic. We got to get out of the state of mind and keep producing more positivity. Do you realize that the rich people are suffering? They suffer greatly because they have idle mind. And give up the good morals for bad behavior. And for bad behavior, people get rewarded. That doesn't make any sense. So you give up your morals, your good morals, for evil deeds. And you wonder what happens to people when they lose their self. When they lose their self, lose their soul, lose their mindset to go sleep with a man and be promiscuous while you're married, which is adultery. If you ever notice that whatever it states in the Bible that teaches the people between right and wrong, it appears to be that the Jewish community, the Masons and Eastern Stars of Hollywood, are practicing everything that is an abomination. And you're probably wondering, Brother Moore's life is on point, but where is he getting at with this? Well, I'm going to tell you where I'm getting at with this. To get rich like that, you got to constantly look over your shoulders. You're going to be a slave to an image that you're going to get tired of. You're going to be a slave to not having peace. And being a slave to not having peace is not going anywhere freely without being recognized by the millions and millions. You're a slave to your own fame. So what is the whole point? If you're not out here harming people and taking advantage of people, and you're doing the best you can, and you have a good heart, and you're doing what the best you could do, that means Allah's going to put tests in front of you and the trials and tribulations in front of you to see if you're going to give in to the folly and falsehood and wrongdoing, or you're going to do the right thing. You really got to start thinking. You cannot serve two masters. You wonder why people out there killing each other, gang banging, and all this other stuff. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. You can get rich faster by committing acts of being evil and gaining all this worldly stuff, but then again, this can be taken away from you. All I can say is, you got what it takes to make your lifestyle better. You got what it takes to change something about your condition to do better without putting yourself or endangering someone else's life. Because when you endanger someone's life, there's something on the other side of the spiritual world that you're not going to be ready for when you see with fleshly eyes. It will deter. You will like lose your state of mind trying to figure out what that spiritual world is all about. Talking about laying hands on people and healing people now. You know, I don't think people are truly about that life. They say they are. But why do you say you do these things, but all of a sudden now you portray to be the Most High? You choose to be Dio Santo. Worship you, worship you. My preacher man this, my preacher man that. Your preacher man knows nothing, and your preacher man ain't gonna save you because he gonna be trying to save himself. All them fancy cars he got in his garages, all them big houses he got in his garage. You know what I'm saying? All those delightful paintings and worldly things. If you know someone who is worldly, you should stay far away from them as much as possible. Because they serve you no good, they serve you no purpose. And I'm just being honest with you. And I don't think the people who you say that really loves you and suffer you and see you suffer, but they laugh at you behind your back, but they appraise you and wish you well, but then again they're serving two masters. They're doing everything they can to harm you. They put stuff in your food, they put stuff in your drink so you can suffer more, and they laugh at your calamities behind your back. And they're the wolves in sheep's clothing, regardless of what way of life you practice, regardless of what religion you practice. I never seen a Jewish person come to the Negro blacks and colors and say, stop calling yourself that, you're a Moorish, or you need to proclaim your own nationality. No, they're concerned about their own kind, their own people. Tell me, since when did a European Jewish person come up and tell you about your culture, your history, and come to uplift you, when all the while we had the Quakers to back us up, but these European Jewish community ain't doing nothing for us. European slaveholder ain't doing nothing for us. Matter of fact, the Jewish community is being funded by the Rockefeller family, because guess what? Anybody who has a last name with the last name ER spelled in the middle of it, last of the last name, is happen to be Jewish. Not all, because there's some people who are AGA Moorish who happen to have the last name Fisher. So that excludes them from being Jewish. They probably could be, you never know. But always keep in mind that the person who may be your best friend is going to be the one who's the Jewish, is the one who's going to turn their backs on you and turn against you. What do you win in gaining friends when they don't serve your best interest and all they're going to try to do is set you up? You don't even know if your best friend's plotting on you right now. That's why they want to know all your information. That's why they want to know your backstory. How many young people get abducted behind the information they know about you? What do you do when it's time that your best friend is supposed to have your back? He's the one, he or she is the one that's stabbing you in the back. And you thought you knew him. Yeshua said, many, many have done it in my name. I don't even know you. Because they don't know his name. Call the facts what it is, family. In the book of John 8:44, which says, you belong to your father the devil, and you want to carry out his desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, refusing to uphold truth because there is no truth in him. Now, you got all these people saying they got the truth, but what they doing for the black community to uplift? Where they return them to their vast estates of their land? Where they return to their constitution of the land? Where are they doing to return their nationality and culture? What happened to render on to Caesar, which is his, and render on to Allah, which is his? Give back to Caesar, because Caesar's father is the devil. Look at his works. Look at his actions. Look what he puts out. Look what he puts out in Hollywood. Look at how he portrays a Messiah to be. That's not him. That don't even look nothing like him. These are imposters. These are blasphemers. These are liars. So you don't trust what your oppressor gives you for you to serve his God and his pagan gods and his ideas, his pagan trinity? Because last I checked, there is no trinity. It don't exist. You can call it blasphemy all you want. You can call it falsehood all you want. But last I checked, there's only one God in the Bible, and his name happened to be Yahweh. Allah, or Allah in translation from Hebrew to Arabic and Aramaic, Allah. So, I'm not here to deceive the people. I am here to reveal the deceivers. That's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to give you the truth. Because I live according to the 5 highest principles known to man: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's what I live according to. I'm not expecting a whole bunch of people to watch my show every day. I'm not expecting to get 300, 400 likes. I'm not expecting that. If I can reach one person, get one like every time I do a show, praise Allah. If I get more than that, praise Allah. But I'm not here for vanity or show. I'm not even here to show my face to become a YouTube celebrity so y'all know what I look like. I'm here as a voice and an advocate for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now you may call your God something different, but if your God is talking about all this extra yip yap, then we don't serve the same God, Joe, because your God is of the fathers of the devil, and he calls himself God. What title does the devil give himself? God. Well, you define the word white. White means purity. Purity means God. God means rule of the land. So you telling me that these so-called white folks are white? And are you mean to tell me you're not European? And this American Constitution belongs to them? This United States of America belongs to them? Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're teaching me throughout school? Indoctrinating me, my colleagues, or shall I say my classmates, my peers, with all this falsehood to show that y'all in power? But as soon as we get around y'all and y'all start getting up there in the age range, y'all begin to start stinking. Come on now. It goes way deeper than what you think it is. And I don't think y'all ready for it. For those of y'all who are ready, stay tuned. For those who are not ready, you want to keep going out there doing what you're doing, sleeping with married men, sleeping with married men, being bisexual, homosexual, trisexual. The truth is not in you. You can sit here and spit the truth all you want, but fake the funk and fake who you say you are. But you can be a deceiver, but Allah is not with you because your devil is your father. Your lower self has taken over your mind. But yet still, you can't do right because you choose the easy way. What always seems good is not always good. You can sit here and pay your tithings and offerings all you want. But guess what? At the end of the day, it means nothing because it doesn't go to heaven. It doesn't go to the sky. How are you going to send money to heaven when there's an firmament right there and it's blocking everything? How do you know heaven's in the sky? I don't think y'all ready for this. I don't think none of y'all ready for this. And the only ones who are ready are the ones who are taking heed and who's listening to the lessons right now. So when y'all are not prepared for the situation and you're going to listen to these devils who carry this crucifix, let me explain something to you about that cross, that crucifix. That crucifix has nothing to do with Ethiopia. It has nothing to do with Africa. The only cross, partial cross, that has something to do with Asiatic Moors is the Ankh. It has an ovary, it has a stem, which represents the man's manhood, and the cross that's going across it represents a fallopian tube, which represents life. Life is perfection. But I don't think y'all ready for it though. You were born behind the symbolic symbol of the Ankh, not the crucifix. The crucifix represents crossing somebody. And crossing somebody puts a burden on somebody, which means distress, which is a low vibration. A low vibration is what leads to it being demonic, being evil. So a crucifix does not represent anything of holiness. It just represents something demonic. But I don't think y'all hear me though. I don't think you ones who are listening to what I'm saying to you ain't listening. But for those ones who are listening to me, understand what I'm talking about. Remove that crucifix from you and return that back to the Roman soldiers, the Roman Catholics, the Roman soldiers who were homosexual and all of them ones. Right? That's what you ought to do. And stand clear away from Satan's people, because guess what? These people come like a wolf in sheep's clothing. And I don't think you're ready for them. They got so much deception, so much tricks up their sleeve, commit so much sorcery and all this other stuff, and this optical illusion and all this other stuff that you ain't even ready for. You got your children thinking that for you a young boy, but it's okay for you to be a girl. Then you got these incompetent foster mothers and fathers who are training these young Asiatic so-called black children to be homosexual and all this other stuff. So now who's being wrong here? Who's being wronged? Who's being taught to not reproduce themselves? If you are taught not to go against the book of Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 to 27, where Allah created man and woman to go be fruitful and multiply and reproduce yourself, and then all of a sudden now you come with your own personal agenda that contradicts the first book of the Bible that Allah has created, then your father is of the devil. So that means you're the child of the devil, and the truth ain't in you. Now, speaking of facts, what it is, because you're not ready for this. Anytime a mother or a father or whoever he may be, same sex, whatever, bisexual, promiscuous, or whatever you want to call it, telling your children that it's okay for you to be a boy but dress like a girl and act like a fictitious girl and act like a fictitious woman, and that's not how women act, and telling these young girls you can act like a boy, but that's not how boys act. Y'all got your facts mixed up. You guys watching all the stuff about the Teletubbies and all sorts of stuff, watching these ones subliminally get sodomized, and this is what is gravitating through the children's thinking of watching these little children's shows to formulate their own thinking that said that they're born a boy but they feel like they should be a girl. Who are they listening to? Where are they watching on TV? And how come these children are not being monitored by their mother and father? They being put all this stuff in these children's shows and stuff like that to make you think they're getting a good education, and being constantly repeated over and over again to indoctrinate your children to be otherwise, and there's nothing you can do about it but get locked up if you go against your children if they want to be a boy or girl. It's called optical illusion. And if you don't take heed to what I'm saying to you, and then you give up your children for slaughter for those chief executives so you can stay rich and have them sodomize your child, then there's something wrong with you. There's something truly wrong with you. Islam, this is it for me for tonight. It is a show. Belief and illusion. So I may do a part 2, I may not. Whatever Allah sets on my heart is due. So, y'all be safe, y'all be peace. Islam. Always remember this, family. Whatever the trials and tribulations y'all going through, I pray that you conquer it in the name of peace. Islam. I said on my square, 5 on the left, 2 on the right. I'll recite the Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, Drew Ali.